We said yes, not because we wanted to, but because we had no other choice. When they arrived, 2 of them, Emma Carter, didn't say a word. I just let them into our Capitol Hill apartment in Seattle, and my husband, Ryan Carter, had to witness everything. A quick note for this story. I wanted to explore something darker than usual, just slightly different. I hope you enjoy it. I'm looking forward to your feedback in the comments. Thanks for being here. Let's begin. We can still stop this, Ryan said, almost as if speaking to himself. I didn't look at him. My eyes were fixed on the hardwood floor of our Seattle apartment, tracing the grain I'd swept twice already, anything to keep my hands busy, anything to avoid thinking about what was about to happen. We don't have to go through with it. His voice grew louder. I exhaled slowly through my nose. Yes, we do. He turned toward me on the couch, his leg bouncing uncontrollably. I could see the panic in his eyes, still searching for another way, any way but this. We'll figure something out, we always do. No, not this time. I looked at him then, really looked the man I married, the one who used to make me feel safe, now sitting beside me, terrified of what I was about to do. You don't understand. I said, there's no time left. We need the money. This is the only option we have. The words tasted bitter, even though we'd had this conversation a dozen times. I didn't want this, God. I didn't want this, but what we needed and what we wanted weren't the same anymore. Ryan shook his head, gripping his knee as if it might anchor him to something real. I can't believe we're actually doing this, he whispered. Neither can I. I blinked hard, my throat tight. I wasn't calm. I was holding it in. You think I want this? I asked, my voice cracking on the last word. I hate even the thought of it. The room was too quiet, as if the walls of our Capitol Hill apartment were holding their breath. My heart pounded in my neck, like it was trying to claw its way out. Ryan leaned forward, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor now too. I'll stay. I'm not leaving you alone with them. If you want to stop, we won't. He looked up, lips parted, as if he wanted to argue, but there was nothing left to say. I smoothed the front of my dress with trembling hands. My skin felt too tight, every second stretching thinner, like we were waiting at the edge of a cliff. Then came a knock at the door. The knock echoed through our small Seattle apartment. I didn't move, just breathed slowly, steadily, as if I could convince my body this was fine, that I could do this. I stood first. Behind me, I heard Ryan shift reluctantly. As I turned toward the hallway, his hand rested lightly on my shoulder. Just for a moment, just enough to say he was still with me. I walked to the door. When I opened it, they were already staring 2 men. James Thompson, older, maybe in his 50s, taller than I expected, and Ethan Brooks, younger, leaner, sharper looking, probably my age or less. Neither smiled. No greetings. No names. They stepped inside without asking. Ryan followed silently, closing the door behind them. None of us spoke. None of us. They didn't look around or say a word. James set a small black bag down near the wall. I didn't ask what was in it. I didn't need to. This way, I said, my voice steady. I didn't let it shake. I led them down the hallway of our apartment, hearing the weight of their steps behind me, slow and deliberate. Ryan stayed close, his pace matching mine. When we reached the bedroom door, I paused for a second, then pushed it open and stepped inside. The lights were low, the bed made, the sheets already pulled back, like it was just another task. I heard the door click shut behind us. Ryan moved to the armchair in the corner and sat down slowly, hands on his knees, staring straight ahead. I didn't look at him. Instead, I bent down, slipped off my shoes one at a time, and set them beside the bed. My hands were steady. Behind me, I heard the soft rustle of clothing. James and Ethan were undressing, not rushed, not hesitant, like this was routine for them. I stood at the edge of the bed, spine straight, arms at my sides, staring at the wall across from me. I felt Ethan approach before I saw him. He didn't speak. He reached up and brushed my hair gently off my shoulder, his hand lingering warm, familiar, but wrong in every way. I didn't flinch. Then he leaned in and kissed me softly, as if testing me. I didn't kiss him back or pull away. I let it happen, unmoving. James stepped forward. Their hands found me before I could react, deliberate and fast. The straps of my dress slipped from my shoulders, the fabric pooling at my feet, as if it had nothing left to do. I didn't reach for it, keeping my arms at my sides. This wasn't about them or me. It was about what we needed. Ethan leaned in, his breath brushing my skin, his grip firm, not seeking approval. James dropped lower, steadying me from behind. His breath in a space I tried not to acknowledge. I clenched my jaw. Stay still. Get through it. Don't feel. I stared at a crack in the wall, a dent in the moulding, anything that didn't move. They didn't speak or slow. I wasn't a person to them, just something to act on. I didn't flinch or close my eyes. Ethan stepped away and lay back on the bed, waiting, as if this had been planned before we even opened the door. James turned my face toward him, gently, but without question, guiding me downward. I paused briefly, not to resist, just to breathe, then let it happen, no sound, no protest, following the motion like it had been rehearsed. They shifted me again, hands at my waist, lifting, turning, lowering. I was placed over Ethan, exactly where he expected me to be. My palms rested on his chest for balance. Nothing more. He shifted beneath me, sudden and unhesitating. I inhaled once, held it. Behind me, James moved closer, his hand curling around the back of my neck, the other steadying me. I didn't speak or push back. Ethan moved below me. James kept his hold. They didn't ask, and I didn't feel not yet. Keep breathing. Don't think. Don't react. They moved me off and turned me onto my back. James leaned over first. Ethan followed, hovering above. There was no rhythm, just movement, repetition. My head rolled with the motion. My hands clenched the fabric beneath me. I kept my face still, But inside, something was loosening the tension, the strain I tried to block. I turned my head. Ryan was still in the corner, still present, still distant. I closed my eyes, took one breath. They moved me again. Now I was on all fours. Ethan leaned back against the pillows. James adjusted my stance from behind. They weren't coordinating, just acting. Their hands held me steady, one guiding, one controlling. There was no space left to choose anything. They moved harder, closer, in sync. My elbows slipped. My breath hitched. I was unraveling. I struggled to stay cold, to remain still, to hold it back one more second. But I couldn't. I shattered. I was still trembling. They were still moving, surrounding me, consuming what I hadn't already lost. Their rhythm didn't falter, as if nothing had broken inside me. My arms were weak. My breath came in shallow bursts. When I lifted my head, I saw Ryan still in the chair, still here, but his eyes weren't on me. He stared at the floor, expression blank, mouth slightly parted, hands limp on his knees. He wasn't gone, not physically, but something in him had started to drift. Not from the room, but from me. I looked away. They didn't. They adjusted me without speaking. Ethan shifted back. James moved beneath me, hands guiding me into place, like it was practiced, done before. I straddled Ethan, my knees weak, my legs trembling with the memory of what had been taken. I tried to center myself, to steady my breathing, to regain control. But James closed in from behind, deliberate, certain. His hands lowered me slowly, guiding me with careful pressure until I felt it sharp, direct, unexpected. I gasped, my hands instinctively seeking balance on Ethan's chest. He didn't pause, pressing upward, measured, unrelenting. The pressure bent my back, pulled a sharp breath from my throat, forced my lips apart. Still, I didn't make a sound, not yet. I locked my jaw, tensed every muscle, tried to vanish into stillness, but they didn't let me. Ethan moved first, shallow, then stronger, his hands clutching my hips, keeping me aligned with his motion. James stayed deep, rotating gently, drawing out tension until I felt pulled in two. I bit down hard, dug my nails into the chest beneath me, willed myself to stay blank. But they didn't care. I was moving, dragged into one rhythm while stretched by another. The tempo rose, my skin burned, my breathing broke. I could feel myself being pulled to a place I didn't want to return to. Then it happened sudden, harsh, unwanted. A sound escaped before I could stop it. Loud, real. I slapped a hand over my mouth, horrified. But it was too late. They heard it and answered. Their tempo surged, their grip tightened, the weight of their bodies pressed harder. I tried to hold steady, to stay silent, to resist the building tension. But I was already unraveling. Another crash overtook me. Harder, deeper. I couldn't contain it. My spine arched, my head dropped forward, my voice cracked guttural, sharp, heavy with guilt. When I opened my eyes, the chair was empty. Ryan was gone, and I hadn't even noticed him leave. I'd been too caught in it, too loud, too far gone. It shattered something inside me I hadn't even protected. They didn't let me linger in it. I was turned again, lifted, lowered, my back to the mattress. Ethan took his place between my legs, moving without delay. James leaned in above me, one hand resting at my throat, the other guiding my head toward him. I couldn't stop it or slow it. They moved in unison, methodical, practiced, certain. I tried to stay quiet, but the sounds forced their way out. Gasps, sharp exhales, broken noises that didn't sound like mine. I clenched my lips shut, bit down harder. Don't give them more. Don't let it rise again. Don't let them know what it's doing to you. But every time I locked down, they forced more from me. James held firmer. Ethan drove harder, faster, unforgiving. My fists gripped the sheets. My head thrashed against the pillow. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. But I broke. The force hit me like a flood. Violent. Unstoppable. Absolute. My body arched. My throat opened wide. The sound that left me was primal. Then silence. I collapsed. Boneless. Breathless. I didn't remember the lift. Only that I was suddenly in the air, held between them. My body moving in rhythm with theirs. Limbs slack. James behind. Ethan beneath. Unrelenting. Total. There was nothing left in me to fight with. Their pace never faltered the weight, the push, the way they took everything. It cracked me open. I didn't rise. I fractured. As my voice left me again, the last of my strength vanished with it. James tightened his grip, his breath heavy in my ear. Ethan locked his arms, pulled me tight, and groaned low. Then they let go. I fell to the bed, bare, shaking, hollow. I didn't move, I couldn't. My chest rose once, then again, fragile, empty. As the last of their heat left my skin, shame took its place. Fast, sharp, total. James and Ethan dressed in silence. The door opened, closed, and I stayed there not just emptied, but ashamed of how much I had given. The silence in the bedroom was suffocating. The faint hum of Seattle traffic outside our Capitol Hill apartment filtered through the window, a distant reminder of a world that kept moving while I lay still. My body felt foreign, like it belonged to someone else. The sheets clung to my skin, damp with sweat and something heavier guilt. Maybe, or the weight of what I'd let happen. I stared at the ceiling, tracing a hairline crack that ran from the corner of the room, trying to anchor myself to something that wasn't my own pulse. I didn't know how long I stayed there. Minutes, maybe hours. The apartment was too quiet without Ryan's presence. His absence gnawed at me, a fresh wound layered over the rawness of what had just happened. Where had he gone? The kitchen? The street? Somewhere farther I didn't have the strength to get up and find out. My legs trembled when I tried to move, so I didn't. I pulled the sheet over me, not for warmth but for cover, as if it could hide what I'd done. The black bag James had left by the wall was still there. A silent witness. I hadn't looked inside, but I knew what it contained: cash. The price of our desperation. It sat there like a judgment. Proof that we'd sold something irreplaceable. I wanted to throw it out the window, let it scatter on the Seattle streets below. But we needed it. The eviction notice pinned to our fridge, The medical bills stacked on the counter. The late-night calls from creditors they'd driven us to this. I closed my eyes, but the images didn't fade Ethan's hands. James's breath. Ryan's empty chair. I forced myself to sit up, the motion slow and painful. My dress lay crumpled on the floor, a discarded skin. I didn't pick it up. Instead, I wrapped the sheet tighter and shuffled to the bathroom. The mirror showed a stranger eyes hollow, cheeks flushed, lips bruised from biting back sounds I hadn't meant to make. I turned on the faucet, let the water run cold, and splashed it over my face. It didn't wash away the feeling of their hands or the echo of my own voice, raw and unwanted. I gripped the sink, steadying myself, and whispered, "You did what you had to." But the words felt like a lie. When I finally left the bathroom, the apartment was still empty. Ryan hadn't come back. I checked the kitchen, the living room, even the balcony overlooking Capitol Hill's neon-lit streets. Nothing. His coat was gone from the rack by the door. My phone showed no messages, no missed calls. I sat on the couch, the same one where we'd argued hours ago, and waited. The city outside buzzed with life: coffee shops, bars, the hum of late-night buses, but inside, it was just me and the weight of what we'd done. Hours later, the door clicked open. Ryan stepped inside, his face pale, his eyes avoiding mine. He carried a paper bag from a corner store, the kind he'd buy beer from when he needed to think. He set it on the counter without a word and stood there, hands in his pockets, staring at the floor. "Where did you go?" My voice was small, barely audible over the distant city noise. "Out," he said, not looking up. "Needed air." I nodded, though he couldn't see it. "Ryan, don't—" He cut me off, his voice sharp but brittle, like it might break if he pushed it further. "Just don't." I swallowed, the lump in my throat growing. "We need to talk about this." He laughed. A hollow sound. "Talk. What's there to say? Emma, you did it. I let you. We're here now." He finally looked at me, and his eyes were red, not from crying but from exhaustion, from something deeper. "I saw you. I heard you. I couldn't stay." My chest tightened. I didn't want it, you know that. "Do I—" He stepped closer, his hands clenching into fists, then relaxing. Because it didn't sound like that. It didn't look like that. His words cut deeper than I expected, slicing through the shame I'd already wrapped myself in. "You think I enjoyed it?" My voice rose, trembling. "You think I wanted them to?" I stopped, unable to say it. "I did it for us. Ryan. For the bills. For the apartment. For you." "For me?" He shook his head, stepping back. "Don't put that on me. I told you we could find another way." There was no other way. I stood, the sheet slipping to the floor, leaving me exposed in more ways than one. "You saw the notices. You heard the calls. We were drowning. Ryan, what else could we do?" He didn't answer, just turned and grabbed a beer from the bag, cracking it open with a hiss. The sound felt louder than it should have, filling the space between us. He took a long sip, then set the can down hard. "I don't know if I can look at you the same way," he said. So quietly, I almost missed it. The words landed like a punch. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw something, but I just stood there, frozen. "Then why did you stay?" I asked. "Why didn't you stop it?" He didn't answer. He didn't need to. We both knew why he'd been as desperate as I was, just as trapped by the weight of our debts, our failures, our choices. But knowing didn't make it easier. The next few days were a blur of silence. Ryan slept on the couch, leaving the bedroom to me. I couldn't bring myself to lie in that bed, so I dragged a blanket to the floor and slept there, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment. The money from the black bag sat untouched on the kitchen counter, a stack of 20s and 100s that burned my eyes every time I passed it. We paid the landlord, settled one of the medical bills, but it didn't feel like relief. It felt like a transaction, a piece of us sold for a few months' reprieve. Capitol Hill moved on around us. The coffee shops buzzed with hipsters, the bars filled with laughter. But our apartment was a tomb. Ryan went to work at his tech job downtown, coming home late, his eyes distant. I tried to fill my days cleaning, scrolling through job boards, anything to avoid thinking, but the memories clung to me. Ethan's hands, James's breath, my own voice, betraying me, and Ryan, always Ryan, his absence louder than his presence. One night, a week later, I found him on the balcony, staring at the Seattle skyline. The Space Needle glowed in the distance, a reminder of a city that felt alive while we were anything but. I stepped out, the cool air biting my skin. "We can't keep doing this," I said, my voice steady for the first time in days. "This silence, it's killing us." He didn't turn. "What do you want me to say?" "Emma, that it's okay, that I can forget it." "No," I said. "I don't expect that, but we have to figure out how to live with it, or we won't make it." He finally looked at me, his face lit by the city lights. "I don't know if I can. Every time I close my eyes, I see you with them, I hear you, and I hate myself for it." I stepped closer, wanting to touch him but afraid he'd pull away. "I hate myself too," I whispered. "But I did it for us, and I'd do it again if it meant keeping us afloat." He flinched, like my words were a slap. "Don't say that. Don't make it sound like it was nothing." "It wasn't nothing," I said, tears burning my eyes. "It was everything. It took everything. But we're still here. Ryan, we're still us." "Are we?" he asked, his voice breaking. He turned back to the skyline, and I knew he was searching for an answer neither of us had. We didn't resolve it that night, or the next, but we started talking. Small things at first: bills, groceries, the weather. The money ran out faster than we'd hoped, and the calls started again. We didn't discuss doing it again, but the thought lingered, a shadow in every glance we shared. Seattle kept moving, its rain washing the streets clean, but not us. We were stained, marked by a choice we couldn't undo. I don't know if we'll stay together. Some days, I catch Ryan looking at me like he used to, like he's trying to find the woman he married. Other days, his eyes are empty, and I wonder if he sees me at all. I don't know if I'll ever forgive myself for what I gave up, or if he'll forgive me for what he witnessed. But we're here, in this Capitol Hill apartment, carrying the weight of what we did, trying to find a way back to each other, or at least to something that feels like living. That's the end of the story. This one was darker than usual, something slightly different from what I normally share. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did it work for you? Was it too far off? Drop a comment and let me know. Your feedback means a lot. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and hit subscribe. Thanks for being here. It really means the world.